Good morning, happy Wednesday. In 2019, to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the passage of Tennessee's first workers' comp law, the Bureau decided to honor someone who was instrumental in shaping this agency and the law for some 40% of the century that followed. We thought there was no better way to recognize that legacy than to create an award that honors achievements in this industry and name it after that individual. So last year we created and awarded the inaugural Sue Ann Head Award for excellence in workers' compensation. It was awarded to Mr. Terry Hill, a partner with the Menier and Harrod Law Firm in Nashville. We're going to continue that tradition today with the naming of the 2020 recipient. Before we announce the winner, I would like to tell you a little bit about Sue Ann Head because some of you might not have had the privilege to know her. Sue Ann was born in Davidson County. She was too much of a lady for me to tell you the year. She attended Tennessee Tech University in Cookeville before embarking on a career with state government that spanned over 45 years. She was hired in January of 1966 as a secretary and went on to lead the then Tennessee Workers' Compensation Division for over 30 years. There are other job titles between those two, but just think about that. She rose from a secretary to become the administrator and then led the division for over 30 of the 45 years that she worked for the state. Her service to the industry didn't end with state government. She served on the executive committee of the Southern Association of Workers' Compensation Administrators and then led it as the president in 1991. She served on the board of trustees of the International Workers' Compensation Foundation, which is the co-sponsor of this conference. She saw reforms passed in the legislature in 1992 and again in 2004, and implemented programs such as benefit review, case management, and utilization review, all in 1992. The Tennessee Drug-Free Workplace Program in 1996, the Uninsured Employers Fund in 2001, the Penalty Program in 2004, the Medical Fee Schedule in the MIR Registry in 2005, Administrative Review in 2006, and the Employee Misclassification Program in 2011. This annual conference was her original idea in 1996. Sadly, she passed away on May the 28th of 2018. Now that I've told you about her, let me tell you about the award that we created in her honor. Earlier this year, we solicited nominations from various stakeholder groups involved in a workers' compensation claim. Nominees must have worked in Tennessee workers' compensation system for a minimum of 5 years and to be able to display a notable effect or sustained record of positive contributions over their career. Those so nominated could be employers, attorneys, service providers, claims professionals, or medical providers. And again this year, I'm proud to say that we received multiple nominations. A panel of judges reviewed each of the nominations and determined 3 finalists. I would like to now show you a video to introduce you to those 3 finalists for the 2020 Sue Ann Head Award for Excellence in Workers' Compensation.
I first met Shirley a little over 2 years ago when I took the occupational health job at Nucor Steel Memphis. And immediately, Shirley, reached out to me to build our relationship together with her support through workers' comp and Nucor. So we met for lunch and just got to meet her very early on. She made me feel very comfortable offering me support of anything that, was going to be coming forward for our interaction together on the work side of it. Shirley's role that she plays with the workers' comp side of it with Nucor. Shirley has been case manager. Actually, she owns the consulting company that Nucor is affiliated with. Shirley is a case manager, but she's also the owner. Shirley does still work on some of the cases, and we have one in particular that Shirley has stayed very connected with. Shirley has developed an incredible relationship with our teammate and doesn't feel comfortable of wanting to let that pass on to another caseworker. So Shirley has been very active and not just managing her company with Nucor, but also been a great case manager for us on some of our teammates.
You know, she took care of all the medical records, all the doctor's appointments, all the medications, and you know, if we hadn't had that, that's one of the great, you know, it's a great part of the system. You know, I couldn't imagine a family going through something like I went through, or even worse, and not having somebody there by their side to help take care of all that. Because, you know, not only were we having to deal with that, but, you know, my wife, you think she remembered to pay the mortgage, you think she remembered to mow the yard or any of that. So yeah, having Shirley there was a godsend. It's one of the part of the systems that I really like.
Our teammate was severely injured, had some severe facial burns, and has gone through extensive surgeries, even to date, still working on surgeries. But what makes Shirley a standout? It wasn't just setting up the appointments and the interaction with the teammate to get the multiple disciplines on board. Shirley would always go above and beyond to make sure that not only our teammate was taken care of, but she went the extra mile to make sure that his family needs were met, going and seeing them at home and making sure that they felt supported, and working with Nucor and helping them understand the role that the employer plays in bridging it all, not just for the injury, but to give physical, mental, and spiritual support to the teammate.
She went above and beyond what I think, you know, most people would probably do. I mean, there was instances there where, let's say Sedgwick, the insurance provider, you know, she kind of mediates that too. So let's say if they didn't approve my prescription before I come out of a surgery, I mean, there's been many times where she had offered to pay for it out of pocket. I mean, that's just the type of person she is.
You know, it's the after hours. It's Shirley going and seeing them at home and anticipating their needs and asking the right people to help her so teammates can be supported.
It's just the many things that she does. Not only, you know, yeah, she's got a job to do, like all of us. Of course, we all have to make a living. But she adds that caring and personal side of it. You know, that's what really made a difference. Not just for me, but for my wife and my family.
It went beyond just a case. It's very personal for Shirley. So when you can extend care beyond just a normal work, Shirley's been able to do that, and it's made the difference in our teammates' recovery and our teammate making it back to work.
There's no doubt in my mind, if it wasn't for Shirley Vincent, I wouldn't be here today. I would have given up a long time ago. And believe me, there were many points in this journey where I did want to give up. But thank God, you know, I had somebody like her by my side and by my family's side. Of course, with her many years of experience, she knew that, you know, my case was going to be maybe a lifelong case, which we didn't know that at first. But yeah, you know, if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't be here.
Some of Shirley's most important contributions, I feel, is she's extremely knowledgeable about workers' comp. But I believe that Shirley's most important contribution to workers' comp has been seeing through the lost cases, the lost causes that seem like it was hopeless that the teammate wouldn't make it back to work. Shirley has an incredible ability to see that, to provide the support, to see it through and get the teammate back to work. And that takes so much more than just the day-to-day task. And getting the teammate back to work, is the contribution to that for not only the teammate, but for workers' comp and family. I just feel like she just has an incredible ability to not give up on the lost causes, and you just keeps going after it to help the teammate get back to work. The reason I nominated Shirley started from day one, her taking the initiative to reach out to me to make sure I understood workers' comp because I was a new occupational health nurse. Shirley had such an incredible knowledge of workers' comp, an incredible passion and care for injured workers. And I saw that, and then her working with me through all of the cases that I've worked on, it was just one example after the other that this is an incredible nurse, an incredible business owner, and someone that really, really cares about getting the injured worker through the injury and truly back to work. It wasn't just providing the case management through the injury process, but Shirley has an incredible compassion and drive to get the injured worker back to work, because through all the years she's been doing this, she has seen the incredible benefit of actually getting the worker back to work, because it's not just a paycheck, it's about quality of life and drive and purpose. And she's seen that through so many of the cases that she's worked with, and one in particular here at Nucor that we have that has just been phenomenal for our teammate, and it wouldn't have been a success without Shirley. I don't want to get emotional, but she is incredible with the work she did with Travis. Just unbelievable. When you have the privilege to work with someone like that does share your profession, it's very evident that you want this person to be recognized and honored. So that was the reason I felt so driven whenever I heard about this Sue Ann Head Award. I thought Shirley Vinson is the perfect candidate to nominate for this award.
I've known Jason for 15 years through our work on the Tennessee Trial Lawyers Association on the executive committee, working for injured folks in the state of Tennessee.
I have known Jason, it has been at least 11 years. I've been practicing law for 19, and he has been such a good friend, and we've had cases for so many years. It feels like it's been the whole 19 years, but as far as I can go back, it's been 11.
Jason represents injured workers. He works tirelessly for his individual clients. He's had multiple appellate level decisions in the workers' compensation arena that have benefited injured workers around the state. He's one of the few lawyers in the state that I'm aware of that has brought live medical proof to trial in workers' compensation cases. Jason also works on the other side as well for the bigger picture for the system. He's been appointed by two governors, both Governor Haslam and Governor Lee, to serve on the Governor's Workers' Compensation Advisory Council to help improve the workers' compensation system.
Jason is probably one of the most, what I guess a good way to put it is passionate advocate for his clients, and that is in workers' compensation in any type of case actually that he represents a client. He is intelligent, and he takes his cases to heart, which is why he is such a good attorney and such a good advocate, especially when he has an injured employee. Jason has we have had our debates over the years, sometimes very spirited, But the reason Jason is such a good attorney is because he is willing to listen to both sides of an argument and take that into consideration whenever he is forming his opinion on a case or a legal argument or anything like that. But I will say that Jason is one of the most passionate advocates for his clients that I've ever worked with.
I nominated Jason because of his servant's heart and his attitude. He really cares about workers in Tennessee and about the system and making it better for workers in Tennessee. He just gives his all to his clients. I think he's given all to his service work on the council. And he works to just improve the community of lawyers that do this kind of work. He co-founded and co-chaired for 5 years a committee of trial lawyers who do represent injured workers, so that they could share ideas and just work together just to improve their services to their clients in the state of the law.
I think Jason has been very instrumental in the workers' compensation law for many years, not only in his role as serving on the advisory council, but also in his role in taking important cases and taking those up when need be to clarify the law. And I just feel that that type of involvement is so important because, as we are all aware, there were many attorneys who, when the law changed in 2014, they bolted from workers' compensation like it had the COVID. Jason did not. Although the practice of workers' compensation law may not be as profitable as it once was for Jason, he still carries forth his cases with the same passion and advocacy for his clients as he did even before the law changed. And I think that is important, that we have counsel that's well versed in the workers' compensation law as it has changed so drastically, and do take up important cases. And Jason has always done that. And Jason and I, we have many discussions on rules and regulations and legal changes and things like that. And he's always open to the other side of the argument and listens to it and understands it. And I feel that that's so important with an attorney professionally and as a friend. And we both benefit from that.
I think Jason's most important contribution is his continued commitment to the system. As you know, after changes in the law in both 2004 and 2014, many attorneys stepped away from doing that kind of work. And Jason has hung in there and stayed with it, continued to represent injured workers, continued to work with the governor's offices and on these councils, continue to work and support other lawyers who do this kind of work. And that consistency, that experience, and the longevity that expertise, brings to the system is invaluable. And so I think he's to be commended for just sticking with it and staying there for the workers and for the system to try to just continue to make it better.
Jason is always eager to send me cases that go up to the appeals board or the Tennessee Supreme Court to share that there has been clarification. And I think that's very important, especially as we kind of navigate still to this day, the changes of 2014.
I just associate Jason with the representation of workers in Tennessee. He embodies that, he cares, and he just remains committed to the cause.
Well, I first met Nancy Brown when I came to work at Accident Fund in June of 2016. She was a claims adjuster in the East Tennessee territory, actually handled all of Tennessee. And I am the business development consultant for Accident Fund for East Tennessee.
Nancy Brown, I have known since 2012. I believe that's the year she started working for her current employer, Accident Fund Insurance Company, and we've represented them since they came into the state in 2002.
Nancy's role currently is the claims manager for the state of Tennessee, the state of Alabama, and the state of Florida. So she handles 3 states for us. Mostly our business is in Tennessee, so she's handling, I would say, a good portion of that is Tennessee. When I first got to the company, she was a claims adjuster, so she handled multiple cases of injured workers in the state of Tennessee. And currently she is the claims manager, and she oversees, I think it's 5 or 6 lost time adjusters here for the state.
Well, she's an adjuster, and she is an adjuster on the indemnity side. So when somebody has lost wages or is off work, that's where she's going to get involved. And so that's the reason I deal with her. Most of the time, work comp claims, they come in, they're medical only, they get processed, they get handled. And the broker, me, we don't have to get involved. But when it does go to the indemnity side of the aisle, that's when Nancy gets involved, and that's when I might talk to Nancy. So that's how I work with her, and she's fantastic to work with.
Working with Nancy, I've learned that she is a true professional. She knows the Tennessee laws inside and out. She has become a licensed adjuster so that she can handle multiple states if the need arises for us. But her professionalism, her caring, her kindness, she's got the heart of a teacher. When she explains things to people, even if it's a bad answer, they come out understanding why that's the answer.
We just think she's the best when it comes to adjusting work comp claims on the indemnity side. As I mentioned beforehand, most of them come and they get processed and there's no problem. But when they do get complicated, and that happens on the indemnity side of things, she's the one that figures it out. And I know, we've dealt with a lot of adjusters over the years that are all fine people, but when it comes to helping the customer, helping the broker, and helping the employee, really I have had no better experience than consistently with Nancy. Whenever I call her and have an issue, or one of my customers has an issue, she always gets right back to me. She knows the facts. She knows the law, which is very, very important, because I do not know every single aspect of every single case and how it translates legally. And I know that she'll handle it, and she will take care of what I need. She's flexible for our customers and flexible for the employees. So, as I said, in a nutshell, it's just because we feel like she's the best. And I know that when I get her involved, it's not going to be an issue.
Our corporate staff attorney, Cole Stinson, was in Knoxville doing some settlement hearings in court, and he had just finished examining his first injured worker, and the judge had asked the injured worker to if he had any comments, and he stood up and he, without any prompting or any coaching from us or anybody, he got up and said, "I just want the court to know that Nancy Brown is my adjuster, and that she is a true professional, and she, handled my case and has been great to work with through this whole process. She's kind and caring." And then in this process, the judge obviously looked a little stunned and, surprised at his unsolicited comments. And another injured worker out in the audience stood up and said, "Judge, Nancy Brown is also my adjuster." And I second that. She has been great to work with. And I don't know, in workers' compensation, it's probably difficult to find that type of testimony and people to stand up and offer those types of comments.
Insurance is not everybody's favorite topic. I understand that. It's complicated. Nobody ever looks forward to having a claim and getting that experience. And so she helps us navigate that, as I've already mentioned. But one of the things that she's very, very good at, in my opinion, is she doesn't forget the employee side of it. A lot of times us brokers or agents and the business owners, we get a little more caught up in how's this going to affect the business, what can we do, what can we not do, but there's always an employee behind a work comp claim, and Nancy doesn't forget that. And that's very important, because if someone has a claim, they're injured, whether it's medical only or it goes in indemnity, to them it's a big deal regardless. It's their body, it's their livelihood, it's their, am I going to be back at 100% or not? And so navigating that process for someone who's not used to the process, like me or Nancy or you, can be really scary. And she doesn't, that's not lost on Nancy. And I have heard her speak with employees that are injured, and she helps them, feel a little bit better about the process. She explains, why it's got to be this way, what the doctor's office means by that. Here's what we can do for you. Here's what we can't do for you, that type of thing. And so from an employee perspective, I think that's very unique. It's not just cut and dried. There's a person behind that. And then, the other thing that I would mention is, return to work is very important to Schaefer, and we tell all of our clients the importance of return to work, not only cost-wise in the long run, but, getting someone back to work, how important that is for them. And so she's always been very helpful in working with our clients of, well, what do you have that we can get this employee to do that facilitates return to work? And one of the things that's also unique about Nancy, and don't tell anybody I said this, but sometimes return to work is not the best option. And she understands that. And having those frank conversations with our clients to discuss return to work, does it make sense, does it not, that's also very unique. So she's a big believer in it, so we want to do it as much as we can. She's a big believer in the drug-free workplace, and she helps us navigate that process.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention about Nancy is she was instrumental in Accident Fund becoming the first certified adjusting entity for the state of Tennessee. If you look at the website currently, you'll see a list of names of adjusters that are certified adjusters. But if you look at certified adjusting entities, Accident Fund is the first and only name on that list currently, and that was all Nancy Brown.
Congratulations to Ms. Shirley Vincent, an RN and nurse case manager and owner of Guardian Medical Consultants. To Mr. Jason Denton, an attorney and a member of the Rochelle, McCullough, and Alds law firm in Lebanon. And Ms. Nancy Brown, a claims manager with Accident Fund Insurance Company, for being named finalist for this year's award. Now I'm going to ask Abby Hudgens, the administrator of the Tennessee Bureau of Workers' Compensation, to announce this year's winner. Take it away, Abby.
Hello, and this is my favorite part of the conference, which is when we get to recognize the winner of the 2020 Sue Ann Head Award for Excellence in Workers' Compensation. This year the decision was quite hard. We had so many good nominations. And as you saw from the video that was just played, our three finalists are all very, very fine people, and they're making valuable contributions. And it's interesting this year that they come from three separate parts of the state, west, middle, and east, and that they come from three different areas of workers' comp. We have someone who is an adjuster, we have another finalist who is a plaintiff's attorney, and we have a case manager. But of course, there can only be one winner. So I'm so pleased to be able to announce that the winner of this year's 2020 Sue Ann Head Award for Excellence in Workers' Compensation goes to Shirley Vincent. Shirley, it's heavy, but so is the work that you've done, and you have made such a contribution to workers' comp, and we are so proud that you're in Tennessee and proud that you have had such a good relationship with Nucor. So would you like to say a few words?
Wow. I was not expecting this today. Nucor has been one of the best employers I've ever worked with. And after doing this for decades, I can say that I've worked with very good employers and a tremendous amount of employers. This means a lot to me, but it also means a team effort. All my employees help me with this, from my administration to the other nurses that have helped when I've been out, to all the employees at Nucor and the management and the adjusters made this possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. We had to play a little trick on her to get her here. She was not aware of it. But now we will turn you back to the rest of this session.